Jimmy Kimmel is again live 6 days after ABC suspended his show indefinitely. Late night host returned with an impassioned defense of free speech against government pressure.
Look, I never imagined I would be in a situation like this. I barely paid attention in school. But one thing I did learn from Lenny Bruce and George Carlin and Howard Stern is that a government threat to silence a comedian the president doesn't like is anti-American. That's anti-American.
He also tearfully addressed those offended by his comments on Charlie Kirk's death, saying it was never his intention to make light of the murder of Kirk. And he closed by uplifting Erica Kirk's powerful moment on Sunday when she forgave her husband's killer.
There it was. That's it. A selfless act of grace, forgiveness from a grieving widow. It touched me deeply. And I hope it touches many. And if there's anything we should take from this tragedy to carry forward, I hope it can be that, not this.
Let's dig in with my panel. What a moment we're in. I mean, it's really remarkable. And it might not be over, Nia, because the president, he posted this just before Kimmel's show aired last night. He said, why would they want someone back who does so poorly, who's not funny, who puts the network in jeopardy by playing 99% positive Democratic garbage? He is yet another arm of the DNC. To the best of my knowledge, that would be a major illegal campaign contribution. And this is key here. I think we're going to test ABC out on this. Let's see how we do. Last time I went after them, they gave me $16 million. This one sounds even more lucrative. The $16 million referring to a suit that was settled before it got to court against ABC News and George Stephanopoulos.
That's right. Listen, and we know that this is a president who loves lawsuits. He has had some success, as he reminds us over and over with ABC and with CBS too. We know that his FCC chair has talked about this idea of this equal time doctrine, and should it apply to a show like The View? And so this is something that it's shocking that we're in a moment where the president of the United States is concerned about what a late night comedian is saying, but he is so thin-skinned, right? And he wants to make the culture cheer for him and reflect what he wants to say and what MAGA wants them to say. So we are here, and while this is a good moment for free speech, Jimmy Kimmel coming back in the way that he did, I think this is going to be an ongoing story because of who the president is and because of who he surrounded himself with.
Yeah, I mean, that's such an important point, Nia, about the culture, because that is one of the many huge things that we have seen change between Trump 1.0 and Trump 2.0, that he is very aggressively not dragging his culture out into the public, but I would say a lot of people who support him are much more emboldened to be part of the more traditional cultural discourse.
There has been a dramatic swing in the pendulum from how things were, the environment, I think, on a day-to-day basis inside culture in the United States from the first term to now. And I think that's critical to understanding this moment, the authority that the president is attempting to utilize right now, and his ability to not just secure a $16 million settlement in something that I don't think any broadcast network would have even considered 10 years ago, but also why that emboldens him to keep pushing for more. And I think we've seen it over the course of the last 8 months. The administration, the president, his top advisors, their willingness to challenge kind of general parameters or restraints that most people would never even consider. They hadn't even considered, maybe aspirationally, in the first term. They're not only willing to challenge them, they're willing to push over the line repeatedly and see how far they can go. And I think it's an informative moment for businesses who are also facing a very different environment right now.
Businesses, law firms,
yes,
across the board.
And trying to figure out from a business perspective, is it worth a fight here? In the first term, the answer was always yes, without fail. They knew they had support and public support. This time, it has been a very different moment, and I think that camel's nose under the tent from those initial settlements is now being borne out.
Or whether or not this is these media companies pushing the camel's nose back outside the tent. And that is a big question about Bob Iger, whether or not, no, he didn't stand up the first time, whether or not he is this time, and the pressure that he was under. Yes, most of the pressure came from people on the coasts, but it wasn't just people who are maybe more liberal leaning in Hollywood. It's also some of the most conservative Americans who say this is about free speech. But the question again is what really happened? Listen to our friend Scott Galloway and Kara Swisher on their podcast.
Because what happened here was they started getting actors probably called and said, I'm not going to work with Disney. They saw thousands of screenshots being sent to them saying, okay, I'm canceling Hulu. This was about money.
Jeff?
Well, look, I mean, that sort of lays bare what was happening in the run-up to Jimmy Kimmel returning. So many cancellations of Disney Plus and Hulu. So what I'm watching for next is what does Brendan Carr at the FCC do? What happens next with The View, to your point? And yes, Jimmy Kimmel was on last night, but he was not shown in pretty broad swaths of America.
Wasn't shown here in Washington.
Every place there is a Sinclair or a Nexstar station. We will see if the other station groups, what side they sort of take going forward. But going forward, I mean, to hear Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, pretty lonely Republican voices out there. If this continues, if this goes deeper, the White House clearly wants to take this deeper. President Trump wants to make this a fight. It animates his base, there's no doubt about it. It provides a bit of a distraction, some from other challenges he's facing, which are many, many. But to me, what does the FCC do from here? The idea of a station licenses being discussed. It hasn't been discussed since the Nixon era. Will that continue, or is this sort of a one and done and the White House kind of moves on? I think that President Trump likes this fight that he's in, and he has a very friendly FCC and an FCC commissioner.
That's right. And listen, it is a test of sort of where the culture is. Where is the money? Is it on the right? Is it on the left? And here it was sort of, you know, ABC at first was saying, well, there's the sort of the money and the pressure and the culture is moving to the right. And then there was this backlash. Some of it was from Hollywood and some of it was from people like Ted Cruz. And so this is a real moment. I mean, this is a president who came into office and seized the reins of the Kennedy Center, right? He's messing with what is at the Blacksonian, right? What is on the walls and the exhibits at the Blacksonian. So in some ways, this is a dream for conservatives. They have felt that sort of mainstream culture was too liberal for all these years, and now they've got somebody who has felt the same way and wants the culture to reflect him and reflect kindly on him.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of where I was going, and I was saying to Phil, is this has been a long desire for conservatives, one that, frankly, I don't think that they ever thought that they would be able to change much, and they are changing it.
Fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.